because I need to press record on this one. All right. So let's go back. Like I said, this is 5.1 decimal notation and rounding. So we're looking at our place value chart. Yep, didn't give myself enough room. That's all right. All right. So your place value chart is almost symmetric about your decimal. And what we mean by that, it almost reflects. Being symmetric means it reflects. And the reason why it doesn't do that is because we have ones placed on the left side of your decimal, but there is no ones placed on the right side of your decimal. But outside of that ones place, you do have all of the other place values. You have your tens in the tenths place, hundreds, hundredths, thousands, 10,000s, and so on, 100,000s, and it continues to go on to infinity in your opposite directions. Once again, everything is the same outside of the ones place that's on the left side of your decimal. Let me see. I think I saw somebody. Oh, somebody has a fire drill. Well, I will be creating a video as always. So if you get kicked out or you got to run out of the session, I understand. Do what you got to do, and look for that link. Thanks for letting me know. All right, so let me go back to notes. Okay, so let's look at what the first exercise is. Oh, also, I didn't point out that the decimal when we write the word name will be and. All right. So let's look at the first one, 1028.4. So once again, just reemphasizing that we do not say and until we get to the decimal. Yes, Ms. Millen?
Can you read it says write the what name?
That's me writing lazy. Write the word name.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
Oh, you all right. Yeah, write the word name for each. So we know it's 1,000. $28. And I guess we'll need to make a habit of doing that. 4. And whatever place this is in decimal wise, you have to end your answer in that. So that 4 is in the tenths place. So you have to say 4 tenths. So it's 1,028 and 4 tenths. All right. Next one, 2 and, that's where our decimal comes into play. Now that's 736. So that's what we would say, 736. Now, once again, we're looking for this decimal place. This is the tenths, hundreds, thousand, 10,000 that the six is sitting in. So that's how we will end it. So that's 2 and 736 10,000s. Any questions?
Where did the 10 hundred thousands come from?
You said 10 hundred thousands?
Yes, sir.
It says 2 and 736 10,000s. So
Is
trying to make sure.
the
Mhm.
36 in the 10 thousandths? Or the six?
Yes, yes. The six is what's
Oh,
in the
okay.
yeah, the six right here. I see what you're asking now. This six is in the 10,000th place, so that's why you have to end your word form of each name, and I mean the word form of this one in 10,000, just like this four was in the 10th place, so that's why we had to end it in the tenths, as far as the wording is concerned. And then here, when we get to this last one, we're gonna have to end it. This is tenths, hundreds, thousands. So when we finish writing that we have to end it in the thousands place because of that eight. So that's going to be negative 478,000ths. All right, Miss Miller.
Is there no and in C?
No, because there was no number in front of to the left of the decimal
Oh, okay.
other than zero. Now, if there was a one there or something like that, we could have said one and 478,000. But because there was nothing there, we don't have to acknowledge it. All right. Anybody else? Anything else before we go to the next one? So we're going to take the words and then write as a number. So we're going in the opposite direction of that. All right. So we're going to write this as a number. It's 408 and 15 10,000s. All right. So 408 is 408 and is our decimal. Now it says 15 10,000. So 15 is just one five, but the five has to land in the 10,000th place. So you have tenths, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. So that's going to be 15 right here, and then we put zeros up to the decimal point because that's what pushed the 1 and 5. We'll push the 5 all the way to the 10,000th place. All right, so next one, 5,823 hundredths. So 5,800 and is our decimal, and it says 23 hundredths. So 2, 3, and then that 3 is sitting in our hundredths place, so we're okay. All right. Questions. All right, so if you want to write decimals as a fraction, make sure, yeah, okay, I'm good. First of all, you will count your decimal places. Then you will place Okay, so we want to count the number of decimal places. Then we're going to place the number without, I said with the decimal, I meant to say without a decimal. So you're going to place the number without a decimal over the multiple of 10 that matches the number of zeros with the number of decimal places. So what I mean by that is that here at 0.847, we have 3 decimal places. So we're going to take that 847, so that's the number without a decimal, and place it over the multiple of 10 that matches. In other words, I would have 3 zeros behind my 1. And that would be how you would set up your fractions. And if you can reduce, then you will reduce. If not, then everything's all good. So if I had 0.000039 and I wanted to write that as a fraction, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. So that would be 39 over 1 with 6 zeros behind it. All right, next one, 0.0025. So we're going to take that 25, place it over 1 with 4 zeros. Now we can reduce that because 10,000 is, I didn't mean to put a 1 there yet, is 25 times 400. 25s cancel. It's 1 over 400. Any questions? Any questions so far? Yes, Mr. Gray.
I missed the part of how you got the 25 times the 400 on the
Well, you have to,
denominator.
you have to reduce. So it's not going to necessarily tell you to reduce, but they're going to expect you to reduce from this point forward. So when we did fractions in the last chapter, from that point forward, they're always going to expect the least or your answer in lowest terms. So it's going to be on you to look for what you can cancel out. And so
Okay.
so we got that 25 that's in our numerator that can cancel out completely with the 25 that's in 10,000. And so that's what we did. That's why I did that. Just trying to show you, why my 25s canceled out. So yeah,
Okay, thank you.
no problem. All right. So next one, 416. So notice we have 2 decimal places here. And so we're still going to hold true to what we were doing in the last few problems. 416 over 100. Now that has 4 in common. Those 4s can cancel, leaving you with 104 over 25. The other way of doing this type of problem, because you have a 4, a number sitting in front of the decimal, when the other ones that we've done didn't have that, you could have written it this way and set it up as a mixed number. Then from there, leaving the 4 on the outside as your whole number. 4 is still going to cancel out. But you have 4. Oh, I didn't mean to put equals. 4 and 4/25. So either one of those answers are fine. Just pay attention to the directions and see what answer they want from you. So if they want it as an improper fraction, they should let you know. If they want it as a mixed number, they should let you know. If they don't say either or, then it doesn't matter which one you use, and you'll be fine. All right, questions on any of those? All right, next part of the section talks about less than, greater than. Don't forget how we will use these. Even if you forget what words go with which symbol, the mouth of your symbol will always be open to the greater of the two. So it's just up to you to figure out which number is greater, and then just know the mouth will be open to the greater of the two. I remember my elementary school teacher used to put teeth on the alligator or teeth on the shark. The mouth or the symbol always want to eat the bigger piece. So I have 5 and 10. I know 10 is greater. So I will open or have the mouth open towards the greater number. And so that will read 5 is less than 10, you know. So what you're trying to do is create a true statement. So if I have 101 and 9, I know 101 is greater. So the mouth will be open towards the 101. 101 is greater than 9. All right. Oh, one more. So don't forget when you're dealing with negatives, it's opposite as to how you would think without negatives. You're talking about, let's think about money being further in debt. Negative 50 is further away from zero. Negative 50 is further in debt that you are than the negative 13. So the negative 13 is within the negative 50. So, just be careful with your signs. Any questions with how we would use your symbols before we apply the decimals? I'm going to go back. All right, so looking at these two, the way you want to do is compare your place values from left to right and compare the same place values until you get to something that's different. So you have 0 and 0, so nothing's different here. You have 6, and then you have 7. So once you get to something different, it doesn't matter what comes after it. The number that's greater is the greater number. So here at the 6, 8, even though I have 8 that's after my 6, it's the 7 that's greater than 6. So 0.68 is less than 0.7. So when you're dealing with smaller numbers, it may be obvious, but you never know. You might get into larger numbers and may not be as obvious as you would like it to be. So you just go from left to right till you get to a digit that is different. So looking at this next one, we have 3 and 3, they are the same. 4 and 4, they are the same. 6 and 6, same. But then we get to the 2, and we have a 1 here. So that means the 3.462 is greater. All right. So one more. I have negative 4.1639, which is that greater or less than negative 4.158. So we see both of them have negatives. Both of them have 4. Both of them have 1. We see the 6 and we see a 5 here. So that means the negative 4.158 is going to be greater than the negative 4.1639. Remember, when you're talking about negative, you don't want to be further away from 0 or further in debt. All right. Questions before we look at the last thing in this section? Not the decimal. Okay, so we're looking at rounding. Like I said, it's the last thing in this section. First thing you want to do is locate the desired place value to round. And you can look to the right of that place value. If the place value or if the value to the right is less than 5, leave the place value that you're trying to round, leave it the same. If the value to the right is 5 or greater, then you're going to round the place value up. Mm-mm-mm. All right, so we have 125,374.81542. And we went around to the thousands place. All right, so look at the thousands place, or you look for the thousands place. And don't forget, since it says THS, that lets us know it's to the right of our decimal. So we have tens place, hundreds place, thousands place. So that 5 to the right of your decimal is in the thousands place. So that means we'll look at the 4, and our gauge for what we do with the 5 is based on the 4. Since it is less than 5, we're going to leave that 5 the same. So that'll be 2, 5, 3, 7, 4, 8, 1, 5, 0, 0. And what normally happens is when you round, everything after that digit goes to zeros. And if they are after the decimal, you don't need them. So this would be your final answer. Um, uh, yeah, I don't want to do hundreds place. I want to do 10,000. Okay, changed my mind. I was going to do hundreds place, but I want to look at the 10,000s place. 2, 5, 3, 7, 4. So there's no TH. So we're looking at the left of the decimal. 10,000s place is right here. Look to the right of the 2. So that 2, I mean that the 2, but to the right of the 2 is a 5. And if it's 5 or greater, that means we're going to round the 2 up to 3. Everything after that turns into zeros. And once again, if there are zeros to the right of your decimal and nothing else, then you don't need those. So your final answer is 130,000. And if you ever have issues on remembering what zeros to keep, just think about your money. If someone told you that $200 was the same as 2, you have a problem with it. But 200 is the same thing as 200. 200.00 is the same thing as 200. And you really would be okay with that. So let's see if I wrote it this way. All right. Questions on anything else somebody need to see done again, or All right. See your hand. Okay, no. All right, cool. All right. So, with everything, if anything pops up, any question on it, always feel free to either email me or, ask next class. It is fine. So the next section, 5.2, which is the last section on the second test, is adding and subtracting decimals. Once again, when you do your test, make sure you send me your scratch work because, of course, you easily could put this calculator, but want to at least have proof that you wrote stuff down, nothing else. Since it's hard to proctor in this season. So we want to line up our decimals and line up our place values. We have 27.486 plus 6.37. So you line up your place values and then just add up accordingly. You got 6 plus 0, which is 6. 8 plus 7 is 15, carry 1. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 3 is 8. Keep your decimal in the same spot. 7 plus 6 is 13. Carry your 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. And that is your answer. All right, next one. Do the same thing and use zeros as placeholders if necessary. All right, so we have 3.7026, 43. And remember, if you don't see a decimal, they assume you know it's to the right of the rightmost digit. So let's move behind that 3. So I added 4 zeros as placeholders. Then we had 816.3. So I added 3 zeros for placeholders. And from there, I can just go ahead and add from right to left. We're talking about 6, 2, 0. Then 7 plus 3 is 10. Write your decimal, carry your 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. Plus 3 is 7. Plus 6 is 13. Carry your 1. 1, 4, and 1 is 6. And there's nothing to add the 8 to, so you bring it down. And that's your answer. All right. Handle subtraction the same way. So we have 0.2868 minus 0.056. So I added a placeholder behind that 5, 6. 8 minus 0 is 8. 6 minus 6 is 0. 8 minus 5 is 3. 2 minus 0 is 2. And put your decimal, and 0 minus 0, of course, is just 0. All right, so next one's 139 minus 28.63. Don't forget that when it comes to subtraction, you may have to borrow. So it's 139.00 minus 28.63. So you can't take 3 from 0. You can't take 6 from 0. Well, you're going to have to borrow from the digit before it. And the 6, since you can't take anything from there, you have to borrow from that. And so this 9, we can borrow from 9. That turns into 8. So if I'm borrowing from a place value before it, that's actually 10 in reference to the one that follows it. So this is actually, if I'm adding 1 from this 9, that's actually adding 10 to the value to the right of it. So now I can borrow from this that goes to 9, and then I got that 1 over here. And once again, 1 in the previous place value represents 10 to the one that follows it. And so that'll be 10 there. So 10 minus 3 is 7. 9 minus 6 is 3. Put your decimal. 8 minus 8 is 0. 3 minus 2 is 1. And bring down the other one. All right, so let's do it at least one more time. We got 192.4, 89.387. Gonna subtract, add 2 zeros for placeholders. Can't take 7 out of 0. So I look to borrow. Can't borrow from nothing. So I look to borrow from 4. This 4 goes to 3. Gives me 10 back here. So now I can borrow from that 10 that goes to 9. And that'll give me 10 in my final digit. So now I can do 10 minus 7, which is 3. 9 minus 8 is 1. 3 minus 3 is 0. Put your decimal place. Cannot take 9 out of 2. So I'm going to have to borrow. This 9 goes to 8. Now the 10 that comes from that 8 or 1 that turns into a 10, I add it to the 2. So now I have 12 here. 12 minus 9 is 3. 8 minus 8 is 0. And then bring your 1 down. All right, questions so far? Let's see, it's 355. Let's do one more. All right, negative 23.9 plus 45.8. So keep in mind that this is the same thing as 45.8 minus 23.9. So all we did is move the numbers around. As long as 23.9 stays negative and 45.8 stays positive, it's the same calculation. You still keep your equivalency. So we can go ahead and do this that way. So can't take 9 out of 8, so we have to borrow. 5 goes to 4, and this 8 goes to 18. 18 minus 9 is 9. 4 minus 3 is 1, and then 4 minus 2 is 2. All right, so one more before we look to close out. We have negative 0.694 minus 0.484. So here, so if we have same signs, don't forget what you would do is actually add. So you will add and keep your negative. So when I look at 0.694, 0.482, 4, 2 is 6, 9 plus 8 is 7, carry a 1. 6 and 1 is 7 plus 4 is 11. Decimal carry a 1. And so we have 1.176. But since both of them were negative, this should be your answer. All right. Questions on anything I've said up to this point? Concerns, comments?
No.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. So we got, 15 minutes left. Let me see if that's the question. Nope. Okay, good. So we have 15 minutes left. I don't necessarily have to do a new section. This is we done 2. We did 2 today, so that's cool. Next class we'll get into 5-3 with multiplying and dividing decimals and go from there. So if you have something you want to ask me, then feel free to stay back. If not, if you're good, I'm good. I will see you guys on next class, and we'll go from there. Have a good one.
You too.
Thanks. All right, I see a hand. Mr. Pincinot?